Hi there, my name is Matt Cole.
And I'm Brian Garrity.
And we are the producers of the Sexperts Podcast, and we have a returning champion, a blast from the past. Welcome back to the show. It's been a while, but we got her back. All the way from Chicago, Illinois, we have Renee Losapio.
Hey.
Why'd you say hey, Brian?
Because you needed people cheering.
Okay. Yay!
Hi.
And let's see, it has been, we have done this podcast, it feels like 10 years with the pandemic, but we've done this podcast, I think, for 3 years. And I think you were on the very first year. Do you remember what episode?
I don't remember the number, but I remember that my character was a mermaid
Yes.
that lived in the fountain out in Virginia Beach at one of the strip malls.
I love that. I remember the character. I don't remember the number. It may have been in the teens. Do you remember Brian? Brian's our historian for the Sexperts, by the way.
I have no idea.
Brian, you only have two jobs, to be funny and be our historian, and you're failing at the historian part, bud.
Okay, fire me.
I remember it because you guys still had the red mics.
Well, look, Brian got upgraded to the blue.
And I remember you telling me to always hold it on my face, and every time I would talk, I would move it away from my face because I talk with my hands, so my hands would be flailing and the mic would pick it up.
God, I love that. You're gonna be maybe episode 178 or something like that. We're almost getting up to 180, and I've seen all kinds of different styles, like people like not even holding the microphone, just like holding it away from themselves, like this, or like they start here and they end up down here, or just all kinds of crazy stuff. You are similar to actually Sean Devereaux. Whenever I record him, he'll like hold the mic right here and then he'll look over this way and you can't hear a thing he says, and then he gets back here and it's like, okay, yeah, the microphone has to follow you, buddy. And he watches this interview thing, so
I'll make sure to watch my eye line then.
Enough about us. What have you been up to? Okay, so you moved to Chicago. What have you been up to comedy wise and whatever?
Yeah. So when I first moved to Chicago, I started at IO Theater. Most, if not all, the theaters are closed. Actually, yeah, all the theaters are closed right now. And but prior to the theaters closing, I was in IO's program, taking classes there, and then I just got into this performer program called The Pool, and so that's kind of a pool of performers that then other groups that perform regularly can pull from and, either be assigned to or like be part of a floater pool. So I was like just really getting into the momentum of being part of that community.
Wow, that's great. I don't think I've heard of the pool. That sounds pretty odd. What is it associated with a certain theater or all kinds of different theaters?
It's just at IO Theater, and it's run by one of the performers who performs in Felt, which is improv puppeting. Which, by the way, I feel like in the pandemic we can bring back performing arts with puppetry. Hear me out. People will wear PPE, have their faces covered, and they'll have puppets. And people can drive up in their cars to go watch like a puppet show.
I asked our governor recently if our PPE levels had gotten to the point where we could use some for puppets. And he said we're not quite there.
But you know what? Okay, but you were on the same wavelength as me because I think that that's a possibility to bring back the performing arts. But anyway,
I love that. But do you do puppetry? Is that what you're saying, or?
No, I don't do puppetry. It's something that I would love to break into. Okay. What an opportune time.
Yeah.
So I've been performing at IO Theater. I was doing this one show that was like a variety show called The Good Shit Show. So it was had stand-up comedians, impressionists, and improvisers.
Yeah.
And the theater actually closed right before COVID.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm pursuing other art avenues.
That's great.
I picked up painting.
No shit.
A bit. I bought some ceramics, so I started doing something dexterous, something tactile.
That's awesome.
Made some candles.
Oh, this is great. And I've also heard that we had Garrett Barnes and Alba on the show recently, and you performed with them in a group I think called Southern Charm.
Yeah. So we all performed together, Southern Charm. We just had a show before COVID at Second City. Thank God we did. I only could imagine how we'd be feeling if we prepped all that time and then were unable to put up our show.
That is the worst fucking feeling. Brian and I had a sketch show, I guess you'd call it in the can, because the day of the show we're about to go and it gets canceled because like the theater, all the lights and the tech and the electricity go out because of a storm. And then it got canceled another time for something else. So it got canceled 3 times and we're just ready to just throw in the towel. It's the worst feeling ever.
It got canceled due to indirectly due to a mass shooting.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Just fucking crazy. But yeah, and actually Brian was at that show, and he loved it. He said he had a great time. Did you see it twice, Brian?
No, I could only afford to go once.
Okay, yeah.
I was there for the first weekend of Southern Charm.
Yeah, so appreciate you coming to that. It was really awesome. It felt really good to do the thing.
Yeah, I know. So what do you are you, besides puppets? Are you thinking about doing anything online? Sketch shows, improv, trying to do like a Zoom prov or anything like that?
So right now, I've done a lot of satirical writing, and because I was really focused on improv, I stepped away from that. And so moving forward, my primary focus is writing. For me, I'm workshopping my writing portfolio, and hoping that now that I'm in quarantine until further notice, that I can dedicate time to reading and writing.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm finally coming to a new norm.
Yeah. I guess I'm so focused on, I guess maybe I'm an attention hog or whatever. I'm so focused on just like, gotta perform, gotta like put myself out there, gotta do something, blah, blah, blah. But it is interesting perspective and kind of like preparing for when we're all back. Hopefully it's soon. And I think you're going to have some kick-ass stuff because we're going to be in this thing for a while.
I'm writing a buddy comedy about 2 guys who are quarantined in separate houses but film comedy videos online to maintain their sanity.
So you're not doing this for the performance aspect, are you, Brian? You're doing this for material for your fucking show.
This is work, bro.
That's so like Brian.
Gotta work. If you're not training, you're working, right?
But I do know we talked about this before we hit record, but you are doing like little videos here and there, and I actually think they're funny. You gonna do more of those or just as a lark? Because you were Carol Baskins in one. Yeah.
So I am working on one video that does have some puppetry in it, a little bit. Because I have a bunch of googly eyes just in my house. I have all different, I have a giant googly eyes to little tiny googly eyes. So I can pretty much turn any household object into a puppet, which I'm happy to be in that position. Yeah. So I would say that I probably will be making more videos. Okay. It's not my sole focus. My focus right now really is writing. Gotcha. The hardest part of writing is rewriting.
Yeah.
It's rewriting and finding sacred space and time. And the thing is that like my sacred space used to be a coffee shop or like outside somewhere that's not inside my house. So I've really had to change the way that I feel about the space that I'm in.
Right.
And creating an environment that's like, this is where I work. And then also
that is hard.
Yeah. And carving out time because what is time? Everybody feels like time is a construct right now. Like there's no schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, there aren't really a lot of obligations besides work if you have a job. So
it's a really good point. I know that Brian, when we were really writing and getting together the Bright Side, he took basically, I think, your lunch break, right, Brian? You would get like a lot of work done during your lunch break, and now you don't really have that, bro, do you?
No.
It's all lunch break.
It's all in the lunch break, and there is no lunch break. Meet the new lunch break. It's the same as the old. Yeah, I don't make time for writing right now unless I have a show that I'm writing for.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day that you're referencing, I would have ideas more often, and I would just write them while I was thinking about them.
Oh God, those were the days.
Well, you did a video for the plant sketch, right? Because now is the perfect time for the plant sketch because you can't date anybody else right now.
No, Brian is dating right now, and I think it's he's going on these. I love talking about Brian's dating life. He's going on these like Tinder dates, like over like online, like we're doing right now. It's great. I think it's great. He's putting himself out there.
I am not doing anything of the sort.
Okay,
I have met one woman on Bumble, and we talk on the phone. We have not video conference.
Okay, whatever. I'll say I guess I started talking to this woman on Tinder, and for whatever reason, I guess I'm talking too much about myself. Like, she asked about like how a sketch show, because she's like, oh, you do like SNL stuff. And the same thing that you're talking about, like the rewrites, because I started thinking about our process. It's like, yeah, we could throw out a sketch. Like, I could write a 3 to 4 minute sketch in like 30 minutes and just like pound it out or whatever. And then if it's wonky and it like we can't put it on its feet very well, it'll take like 3 to 4 like hours. Yeah. And in the second draft, and then the third draft maybe like 5 more hours. We may rehearse it for like a week, and it still doesn't get anywhere.
And you might come close to losing friends in the process.
It's like, fuck you, Brian. You wrote this sketch, and we can't get it to work. I hate you.
Every day before a Brightside show, I hate you so much.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is that I've started a new philosophy of like, well, if it doesn't fit in a sketch, maybe it fits in a satirical article. If it doesn't fit in a satirical article, maybe it's a monologue. But like knowing that something is there, like, you know, you have a general premise. I've found success in like trying to explore that same premise and all of those different avenues to see if something comes up. Like, I had a character the other day, and it was like garbage. Yeah. But then I wrote a satirical piece based on that character, and it was so much more streamlined, clear.
Yeah.
So
that's a really great skill in itself, and shows like skill and technique and maturity, because some people they can't get past it. Like, it's their baby, and they're like, no, we can't change this. Oh, it's got to be in the show. It has to be like this. It's got to be like that. It's like, maybe it's not a sketch. I think we've done that before, Brian, right? Like, we've realized it's like, this isn't like a bright side thing. This may be like something we do on the Sexperts even, or something.
I think the closest we've come is just quitting on something.
Which is a skill.
We'll always say, okay, we're just going to hold this for the next show and figure it out. But a lot of times,
kill the baby.
There never is the next show.
Kill the fucking baby. It needs to die.
Yeah. And as you know, when I was starting out writing, I was always hanging on to my babies. I was always like, I felt so insecure. And now, I mean, now I've grown to have the maturity that ideas are cheap. Like, it's all about, you know, quantity, pushing on quantity, and then refining. And then that's, you know, for every 10 things you write, you might get one really, really good idea.
Yeah. Let's see. The last thing I want to talk about, it's not related to comedy, but I saw, I can't remember if you did this while you're here in Hampton Roads, but you've been in like some bodybuilding competitions. Is that right? Or is that from like old school times?
Yeah. So a year ago now, I competed in a bodybuilding competition.
That's awesome.
Can I tell you the quick story of how that came to happen?
Oh, please do.
So September 2018, I was in Munich at Oktoberfest with a friend of mine.
That's awesome.
And we were both dressed in our dirndls, hanging out at Hofbrauhaus in the big tent, hanging out with our new German friends. And my girlfriend turned to me and she was like, I think I want to compete in a bodybuilding competition. I've tried once. Would you compete with me? And here I am, like with my rattler in one hand, pretzel in the other. And I'm like, I really don't want to. Like, I like beer and I like food, and I don't really want to measure my food, but I love you. I'll do it with you. I'm happy to support you. And so I signed up with an online coach to do this bodybuilding competition. And the online coach is basically my accountability buddy. They tell me exactly what to eat. I would measure 6 meals a day
Oh my God.
Tell me my workout, my cardio schedule, etc. So for pretty much 6 months, it was 24 weeks. I drank 1.5 gallons of water a day. I ate 6 meals that were roughly 2 to 3 hours apart. I woke up and I did fasted cardio every day, 15 minutes working up to 45 minutes towards the end of the show. It was on the Stairmaster. And then I would weight lift 5-6 days a week.
Oh my God.
And having a rotating schedule of each body, muscle set, whatever it is, group of muscles, right?
Yeah. Leg day.
Yeah. So by the end of it, leading up to the bodybuilding competition, I had to dehydrate myself. It was like a whole process. I had to get a bejazzled bikini that I'd never worn before. I had to do my hair and my nails because they judge you based on that. So I had never done a bodybuilding competition. The comedy is gold because my coach was so intense that towards the end, she made me measure my urine. So every time I had to go take a pee, I had to pee into a measuring cup and then tell her how many ounces I urinated.
Jesus.
Yeah, savage. But I won. I got 2 trophies. So
you won? That's awesome. Congrats.
That's what you get for measuring your urine.
Out of how many competitors?
3. And then the other category, I was the only person in the category.
So wait, you beat your friend who was also in that competition, and it was her idea?
No, she ended up dropping out of it. So
this is such an insane story because you did this, it sounds like on a whim with somebody who was like, hey, you want to do this? And you're like, not really, but okay. And then she dropped out and then you won. This is so good. Hey, Brian, you want to do a bodybuilding competition, Brian?
Not really, but okay, sure.
I will say this about the whole experience.
Yeah.
That it was her goal and her dream to do it.
Oh.
And for me to do it, for me to focus that much energy and effort and commitment to something that wasn't my goal, what I learned after the fact was like, oh my gosh, if I could dedicate this much effort to something that I did not want to achieve, why am I not dedicating the same amount of effort to things that I do want to achieve?
That's incredible. Yeah. I mean, and again, you can use that now. I think you were doing stand up at one point. You still do stand, because that sounds like a great stand up 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't really done stand up much moving to Chicago. It's not that I haven't had the opportunity, because what's really great about Chicago is that there's so many opportunities to do stand up. You could do stand up every night of the week in Chicago, but just focus on improv. It was just something I really wanted to do. And acting, doing a bit of acting and student films and whatnot. So
no way. Well, it sounds like, you're doing well. And I mean, I guess the silver lining is everybody is on hold with everything right now. So hopefully it sounds like you're dedicated, and when everything opens back up, you can hit the ground running and have a lot more success like you've had in the past. And I
heard that we all agreed that while we're on hold, we're not getting older. Is that true?
Yeah, time is actually at a standstill.
Okay, that helps. Yeah. That helps.
All right. Well, Brian and I have to go weigh our urine because we're doing this thing now. But
I give you an hour before you're weighing your poop.
Did you have to do that? Did you weigh your poop?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. What else did she make me report though?
Something weird.
She made me report every time that I went off my diet, and I didn't have any cheat meals. My body is just I am not built for bodybuilding. Some people are just genetic freaks, and I am the opposite of a genetic freak. It's I'll eat, a piece of bacon and I'll blow up like a balloon, and I'll hold a bunch of water weight. So, one night I woke up and I slept walk, and I've struggled with sleepwalking and sleepwalk eating.
Oh, wow.
In the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I woke up and I ate shrimp in the fridge, and I had to tell her in the morning that I ate a half pound of shrimp, and she screamed at me, and I was like, I'm sorry.
That's amazing. I have a similar problem. I have Mike Birbiglia, the Sleepwalk with Me movie. He has REM behavior disorder. I had the same sort of thing where he jumped out a fucking 2-story window. Yeah, I haven't done anything like that yet, but some dangerous shit. So, anyways, nobody sleep with me. All right. Well, welcome back to the show, and you're always welcome back. And stay safe and sane in Chicago. We're on to the episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.